clear that over the past couple of years, we've undergone the biggest change in the way of work since the introduction of the personal computer to the office in the 70s and 80s. Work will never be the same again, and we all feel it and are struggling and thinking about how to adapt to this major change. And when we talk to organizations, many customers, many companies out there are thinking about how to adapt the employee experience to this change, and how they fundamentally have lost a lot of visibility into what the day-to-day life of employees in their organizations is like, because they have so fewer touch points. It used to be that as a manager, or a leader, you could walk into the office and you could chat to people, and through body language and their demeanor and through the various conversations that were happening, you could organically glean how people were doing, whether everybody was engaged, whether you were focused and working in the right direction. Now, a lot of those signals have disappeared as we have less and less face-to-face contact. We're more reliant on what's happening across Zoom. Traditionally, things like employee listening strategies like surveys were merely there to augment that organic understanding that managers in your organization had about how their teams were doing and what was going on, and to aggregate that data up. Now you no longer have all of those organic touch points, or you have far fewer of those organic touch points. And so employee listening plays a far more important role. And many of the organizations we're talking to are having to rethink their strategies to augment managers and leaders' understanding of what's going on in the organization. It's much easier to miss issues and for small problems to snowball and become worse when you have less of that visibility. And so we've been thinking a lot about how employee listening strategies are evolving as a result of that. And we Worklytics have really been at the center of that change. We are an analytics platform. We provide insight into ways of work and how those impact employee experience. And we do this by combining active listening strategies, your traditional employee survey from tools like Perceptyx and Peakon, with passive listening strategies, anonymized data on work and collaboration from common productivity tools like Office 365, Google Workspace, Zoom, Slack, and the like. And this combined strategy has given us a unique insight into how the ways of work have changed in organizations, and how that is impacting employee experience, employee sentiment, and how the best organizations are using this combined data to react to the change, to put themselves in a position to better adapt to it. We've been in this space for 7 years now, so we started working on understanding ways of work well before the move to remote. We had a really good understanding of what it was like when we were all in the office together. And then we worked with a lot of companies through the transition to remote, the initial panic at the beginning of the pandemic, and how that's evolved over time. And now we're working and talking to a lot of organizations about what's next. How do you transition to a long-term strategy? And what types of metrics and employee listening strategies do you need to manage that? Over the last few years, we've analyzed data on over 700,000 digital workers across a wide range of industries. We look at something in the range of 300 metrics to describe work and collaboration in organizations, things like work-life balance, manager interaction, time in meetings, use of tools like Slack, etc., across a wide range of digital platforms, Office 365, Salesforce, Google, and the like. It's clear that we're dealing with very sensitive data here, and so at the forefront of everything that we do is protecting employee privacy. We fully de-identify all of the data that we are analyzing. We do group-level analyses, never looking at what specific individuals are doing, and we're focused on helping organizations understand and continuously improve employee experiences to create places that are great to work, that allow people to be productive, that give them a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction in the work that they do. Key to this is a piece of technology that we've developed over the last few years, which is our anonymization or pseudonymization proxy. It's a piece of software that sits on customer infrastructure and removes all personally identifiable information from any of the analyses that we work on. So we are experts in extracting meaningful insight from completely anonymized data, protecting employee privacy in the process, and that's absolutely key to any of this type of work as you evolve these strategies to include other data sources. And today we're going to be talking about some of the metrics that we're seeing organizations use to track the move to remote and hybrid work and adapt to the change. And really at the core, what we're talking about is adapting your traditional employee listening strategy. First of all, adapting it to include new data sources. We're seeing organizations go beyond the annual survey into sources of data from other parts of the organization. Getting to the root problem of underlying issues requires combining all of these data sources in an effective way to provide insight into what the real issues are and inform strategies and actions to deal with that. And then a focus on actionability is absolutely key. And part of that is having access to real-time signals for what is happening inside of your organization. Because of this loss in visibility that managers and leaders and teams have, it's no longer okay to just rely on your annual survey and hope that there are no issues coming up in the meantime. You need more real-time signal for what's happening on a day-to-day basis so that you can jump in, react to it, make policy changes, and continuously improve to adapt to this change.